we're gonna start at the top. All right. We want to keep ourselves locked out the entire time. All right. Active shoulders, that means we're driving our shoulders up into our ears and thinking about external rotation. All right. I personally like to hold it like it's a pizza pan. All right. When you grab it like this, it makes it even harder. It's also easier to create external rotation if you just hold it up. All right. If you drive your shoulders up, all right, and create that external rotation, we're now using our prime movers, okay, to keep this weight stabilized. As soon as you break and create this local extension, or flexion in this case, here, all right, now you're using like your triceps and those smaller muscles to hold this weight up. Here, all right, it's just being stabilized. This is what we want. All right, use our prime movers to hold this weight up. Make abs tight the entire time. Your abs tight is going to give this a good solid base to stay on. All right, if your abs aren't tight and you're breaking and hypoextending and hyperextending, all right, that's going to wobble this weight. Now it's bending at the elbow, and now you're all over the place. Okay, so think lockout, external rotation, active shoulders, abs tight. All right, let's see everybody hold their plate up as high as they can. When I say reach, and you're looking at me like I'm crazy because you're reaching as high as you can, reach higher. Good. Good. Try and show the armpits in the front, so I should be able to see all of your armpits. I don't want anybody doing this ugly internal rotation or locally bending. Very good. All right, plates down. Awesome. Next. All right. When we lunge, this is some of the things we don't necessarily think about, and people just start walking through this and they wonder why they burn out super quick. All right. When you take a step, here, I'm not just going to go straight forward, okay? If I go straight forward, no matter, regardless of the distance that I've traveled, whether it's perfect or not, what happens is, now when I take my lunge, I'm basically in a line, okay? Any variation horizontally, left or right, is going to want to make me topple over, and it's a lot harder on your core. So you're going to step out slightly. Okay? This is why when we jerk, we do a split jerk, that we actually jump out into a diagonal. The second thing is make sure your step is big enough that the front shin is parallel or is perpendicular to the floor. Okay, so I don't want this. Okay, this knee drive, pressure on the Achilles, heels coming up off the floor. Our drive is now off of our forefoot versus our midfoot. All right, no good. I also don't want to take such a big step, okay, that I'm like now in this crazy flex position and I can't even drive my knee forward. I can't get my back knee down to the ground. Ideally, this shin, your tibia, is perpendicular to the floor. Everything is tight. Drive off the back leg, back to standing. Okay? Do not push the weight forward for momentum. Keep your core tight and keep it directly overhead. You should never be able to see the weight. Does that make sense? So your core should be perpendicular to the ground. It should just be bobbing up and down like this as you go down the floor. Okay? Your step, again, you're taking slight diagonal step, so slightly out, here. Okay, this is going to create more of a solid base, much easier for me to stand up in. You don't have to come back and stand tall in between them. You can go from one to the other, but you must reach full hip extension. So in other words, you can't do lunges looking like a creeper. So make sure you guys are coming back to full hip extension, all right, before you take the next step. But you can bypass and go straight into your next one. All right, one rule with the lunges, this is more of a standard issue. We'll always do this. So like 20, wham, no rep. All right, come up, show control, then bring it down. All right. All right. Before we get into that, let's go over push-ups real quick. I don't care if you guys do it from your knees or from your feet. Either way, we're looking for hollow body. All right, toes are together, legs are squeezing together, butt is tight, hands are right at about chest level, a little outside our shoulders. All right, we're gonna break into shoulders, then the elbows, come down to our chest, hit the deck, hitching our elbows into our sides, creating that external rotation. Big press out, back into a full lockout position. I'm thinking about flashing the pits of my elbows across from me, right, to create that external rotation. And I'm thinking about pinching my elbows into my sides. Right? My abs are tight, and I'm coming up and down like a lever. Right? Nothing moves individually. There's no local extension or flexion. Right? Everything is happening globally. If you're doing them from your knees, it doesn't matter. What I don't want to see is this like tabletop push-up where girls are doing this type of thing. Right? You're still flat from your knees up into your shoulders. Come down, press back up. Okay? And again, still focusing on driving the elbows back, not out. Right? This is like a lot of internal rotation, puts a lot of pressure on our shoulders. It's not good for you. So it might feel easier now, but it's gonna feel really horrible down the road. If you guys have any questions, good to rock and roll.